Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today and clicking on today's video. In today's video, I'm really excited about what we're going to be making. I'm going to be making a honey oatmeal sandwich bread or just a loaf of bread. It's versatile enough, it can really be used for anything, but it's going to have the hardiness of that whole wheat and the sweetness of the honey. So it's going to be a really great base bread. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do for this recipe is I'm going to go ahead and I have a cup of oatmeal, just rolled oats. You can use quick oats too if you want. I'm going to start by putting this into I have my mixer here because we are going to be kneading. You can certainly do this. You can certainly knead this by hand. That is really easy to do. But I'm going to take 1 cup of oatmeal or just okay, and to that I'm going to mix 1 1/4 cups of boiling water. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I've cut these up into small cubes so they're going to melt in there nice and easily. Going to mix to that, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of honey. This is what's going to give it that nice sweetness to balance out that whole wheat or that wheat flavor. Make sure that you grease either with a cooking spray or with rub some oil or butter in your measuring cup. That's going to make that honey come out nice and easily. I'm going to add about 1 1/2 teaspoons of just regular salt. Okay, and then I'm going to mix this all together. We want to make sure that we get all of that, leave time for that butter to melt and mix all of that together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit for a while, and I want this to come to lukewarm. So I'm going to let it cool down a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll mix the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes or so, and our oatmeal mixture is cooled down quite a bit. It's still a little bit warm, but it's a little bit lukewarm. We don't want it too hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to put in our dry ingredients. Okay, to that I'm going to add 1 cup of whole wheat flour and 1 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour. And to this, I'm going to add my yeast. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of yeast. This is about just shy of a normal standard package of yeast. And I'm also going to add 1/4 cup of just milk powder, so just dried milk. I'm going to go ahead and give that a little bit of a mix just so we can blend all of that together. To go ahead and put my bowl on my mixer, I have put the paddle attachment, but if you're doing this by hand, just mix this all in a large bowl. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my flour mixture. Quick mix just to combine, and this is what we're going to use to make our dough. So just mix it by hand just till it all comes together. If you're doing this by hand, this is when you would roll it out on a large, clean surface, so clean counter or large cutting board. Mix this up on medium-low speed until we have a dough. Okay, as you get going, this dough will be really sticky, so make sure you add just a touch of flour. Just sprinkle a little bit on top as you go, and we're gonna go ahead and finish mixing this up. It's been about 8 minutes or so. And our dough has just come together. What you want is a nice smooth dough. So as it's mixing or as you're kneading it, it is just a little less sticky and it kind of comes away from the side of the bowl. So here I have a medium bowl that I have greased. I'm gonna take my dough and I'm going to place in this bowl. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna set it for our first rise. I'm gonna cover this with plastic wrap. You can also use a clean towel. I prefer plastic wrap just to make sure that it'll make sure that it rises really efficiently. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cover this up. We're gonna let this rise for about an hour or so, and what we're looking for is this to be about double in size. And we'll come back then. All right, our dough has been rising for about an hour and we have a nice, beautiful rise. So a nice, soft, bouncy dough. It's about almost double in size. You can certainly leave it a little bit longer if you'd like to get it even risen a little bit more. And now I'm gonna transfer it over to my loaf pan. I have just a 9x14 loaf pan. I prepared it a little bit by spreading some oil in it just to make sure that it bakes up nice and doesn't stick. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the dough and I'm gonna transfer it over here for our second rise. So I'm gonna take the dough, and you can punch it, deflate it a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna shape it so it fits into our loaf. You might need to give it a little bit of a squish. Here, can we get that nice final shape? And I'm gonna take my plastic wrap, or again, you can use a towel. I prefer plastic just because it seals everything in. So we're gonna go ahead and we're going to cover it up again and set it for a second rise. And what I want with this second rise is I want to leave it for about this should take at least another hour, hour and a half. And what we want it to do is to rise up till it's about an inch above the pan, so right about here. So I'm going to leave this in a nice warm spot. And then right towards the end, maybe the last 30 minutes or so, I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This will be ready when we're ready to put it in the oven. It's also going to create a nice warm environment, so it's going to give it a nice head start. It's going to help it out a lot when it comes to the rising. It has been a little over an hour. It's been an hour and 5 minutes, hour and 10 minutes. And we have a nice, beautiful rise on our bread here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pop this in the oven. I'm gonna bake this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for a total of about 40 minutes. Around halfway through, maybe with the last 15 minutes to go. I wanna make sure I'm gonna try to tent it with foil. And this is gonna keep the top from getting too brown. So make sure it has enough time to fully bake. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in the oven and I will see you when it is ready to go. Been about 45 minutes and our bread is done and out of the oven. And it smells incredible. It smells really, really good. So we're gonna go on to our final step. And for our final step, and this is definitely optional, so I've taken it out of the oven and it's nice and fresh and warm. I have about a half a tablespoon or tablespoon of melted butter, just enough to brush over the top. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna brush that on top of the bread while it's still warm. And then we're gonna sprinkle on a little bit more oatmeal, just to give it that extra look right on top. All right, once we've done that, I'm gonna let this cool for a few minutes and we're gonna slice into it and give it a try. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and slice this open. Oh, that looks so good. And the slices can be as thick or as thin as you want. I recommend just slicing a few, just what you need, so that way you can leave the rest of it as fresh as possible. So good. All right, and we're gonna give it a try with a little bit of butter and jam. All right, let's see how it tastes. Oh, it's delicious. Got that really hearty oat taste, but a little bit of sweetness from the honey, and it is really, really nice and soft. So again, very, very versatile. You can toast it up, make it into French toast. Definitely worth the time it takes to make it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today's video. I will link the recipe in the description. Consider liking and subscribing for more. Comment down below for what you'd like me to make, and I'll see you next time.